Hello, my friends. I am going to teach you how to be a true human being. You are an animal, but you are also a human being. More than that, you are a superhuman being. But to realize this full potential, you have to go on a journey with me. I am the one who will teach you how to be the best version of yourself. This is how Nietzsche invites you to start discovering yourself. In a recent video, I shared my little thoughts on why you should read Nietzsche, but I didn't give the full version of my explanation. I'm going to start by saying why I was reading Nietzsche. The thing is, I have always been interested in philosophy. I read the history of philosophy about Plato and Aristotle and all the philosophers that came after them. I studied them in short, some of them in more detail, but I eventually realized that I should maybe stop trying to understand and describe the world around me and start describing myself. How much is there that I don't understand about myself actually? Because maybe I was philosophizing, I was becoming so abstract about my life because there was something wrong inside me. And then I stumbled upon Carl Jung and the Stoicists. I read about how you have a dark side and a light side, or basically a good side and an evil side. And the fact that your family has a big influence, of course, on how you develop later in life. Your friends and your loved ones, the people who connect with you, tell you something about who you are, but in a certain sense you are also not allowed to be who you are if other people tell you what you are and who you're supposed to be. I understood Carl Jung's writing and what he said about human personalities, and it helped me a lot. But I still didn't quite understand how to gain control over my life, or to basically really become who I am. And then one day I stumbled upon Thus Spoke Zarathustra. I stumbled upon Nietzsche's book. I knew it was going to be a challenge to read. I knew that, or I expected Nietzsche to actually make me really pessimistic about life, to basically tell me how much bullshit is in my life, how much stupidity there is in humanity. And my expectations were wrong. Nietzsche is not a pessimist in my view. Nietzsche will tell you why you should be hopeful. Well, not why you should be hopeful, why you get to choose to be hopeful. It's your life that you are living. It's your identity that you are building. And this is the first reason why I think you should read Nietzsche. Nietzsche is telling you how you can gain control, but not really control. He's telling you how you can be the master of your past, your present, and your future. He tells you how you are basically an animal. You are this human being that has evolved from apes, of course, and whatever animal came before that. So there are all of these desires inside you, sexual desires, the desire to eat, to have warmth, to go through the seasons of the year and basically have different kind of moods during every season. That's a normal part of human nature. That's actually an animalistic part of us. A primary part of our brain is made to give us the best chance of survival, to look for food, to look for a mate, and various other things. I'm not a neuroscientist, but I know that's a fact. And then Nietzsche tells you how you can be a human being. Not only be an animal with desires, that these desires that you always repressed, your body that you've always been ignoring because you've been focusing on these idealistic and utopian ideas. He tells you to be a human being, you first need to understand what kind of influence your family has had on you. Your family, your loved ones, your friends. How have they shaped your persona? Not yourself, but your persona. How have you had to wear a certain mask and take up a certain role in your family to survive? You have to understand that first. And then also understand how society is, of course, repressing your greatest sense of identity and your greatest sense of self. Because society has all of these different major pitfalls that you can fall into. One of them being the extreme political movements like communism and fascism. The others being how society basically has these norms of how you should be and who you should be. All those morals and ethics that people tell you make you a good human being. You have to get rid of those ideas. Because being a human being has a lot more attached to it. There's a lot more to being you. You're not just a person fitting into society. You can actually be someone who understands society, who understands connections, and therefore also understand how you have connected to others. So when you get to this step, you've already gotten very far. But there's another level. There's the most difficult part, and this is where Nietzsche describes your self-discovery journey as walking or hiking up a tall mountain. Imagine yourself hiking up the Mount Everest. Because you've gotten so far, you've become skeptical about society in a good way. You've faced the truth of what your desires are, of your family and societal connections. You've been faced with certain truths that are hard to deal with, but that are, in the end, shaping you as a strong character. But now, the final part of your character building is actually destroying who you were. It's saying goodbye to that innocent little child that's actually been projecting this persona to the world. It's the stage where you excavate all of the foundations that have been built at your deepest level of yourself. And you start to rebuild that slowly. My experience has been that you then basically face all your demons. You realize that there's this voice inside you telling you to kill the God who you always believed in. There's the other voice telling you, well, you can't let go of this God because he's the reason you still have hope. There's the voice of the magician who tells you what beautiful tricks you can play on people, how you can act in a certain way to get what you want. You can be a king as well. You can have this royal energy and make people submit to you in an indirect, subconscious way. But then there's this chaos and order basically playing inside you. And Nietzsche is then explaining to you